things that you gotta really find that's important, and it's gonna start coming. Like, once you start building and finding those little things, like, these are gonna be those days where people are gonna appreciate it. You know, I put the context for a reason. For when people start seeing me, it's like you're gonna see these old days. You're gonna see the times and dates, because these days are going to disappear, and you're gonna look back and be like, "Dang, that was a long time ago." And so I'm just stacking the days. I use timestamps are important to me because it reminds me of the work, and I think a lot of people, like I said, I know y'all gonna be biting. I know it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be biting. Just know that's my signature. I started it. Ain't nobody has ever did the timestamps before me. Okay, like I just want people to know that, because I do it with my music. I've done it with a lot of stuff. Because it just creates just this world. Um, so please, you know, just know that the moment I start seeing the timestamps, when everybody start doing the timestamps, just know, okay, just know. I done this before the music. I mean, I did this before the streaming. I was doing it with my music. Um, so, like I said, it's just like I said. I think I don't want to say the hardest thing about streaming is just going back and watching the videos and just clipping it. Like, that's not the hardest thing, but it's just like you're literally watching like 1 hour, and it's like you gotta slow it down, gotta see which clip, and really dissect your video. Like, you know what you said, but you just gotta really dissect it, because then you'll find something like, here, oh, I like this, and then, man, I be falling asleep trying to clip my shit, But I think what I try and do now is, like, I try and keep my clips very consistent, like just the layout, because some people just put their full face in. Like, I want to keep my stuff like organized where you could just see it, and like it becomes this pattern, and everybody's just looking at my clips and just gonna be like, oh snap, and I fucks with this and this, and like it's just gonna be a pattern. Like, that's what I'm just looking to build on, like nothing else. Like, that's why, like, I don't care what time I post it. Like, if I post it 2 o'clock in the morning, like it's just the constant posting. Like, people gotta understand, like, when you just constantly posting, like, it gives you, excuse me, hold on, let me start it over. When you're constantly posting, it's almost like an adding stone into what you're trying to build. Like, everybody wants the full fledged building, but nobody wants to put the pebble and keep stacking the pebble. Those are the little things, the little details that nobody wants to think about. Nobody wants to, like. It's like we're living in this microwave handouts era in life. I mean, it's been like that for the longest, but obviously it's more transparent now, because everything's being documented, everything's being seen, everything's being live streamed, everything's being everything. And it's just, it is what it is. But be 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 more intentional. Be more just wanting to appreciate the time spent. Like, I don't, like, I start this with the intent to know that 6 months in, I might not be doing it. I might not be at the top. I might not be even breaking through. I'm I'm taking everything clip by clip. You know, like, it's just a person that's just being me. I can only be me, and these are always going to be the chats that people are going to be able to look back on and really appreciate who I am as a person. You know what I mean? Is that's just what when now is like, what I appreciate now is like just the times in the talks. Cause, man, if only if y'all knew, I talk like this every day, you know. Um, and so that's why it's so effortless to keep talking, to keep yapping. Like, I'm a talker. Um, I don't want to get sidetracked. I want to definitely just be intentional about what the stuff I want to say. Um, um, Let me find something. Uh, second. Yeah. So, okay. So, I had a couple topics I want to talk about. Um, I want y'all to understand that it's a big cost. The cost of being great at anything. It's a big cost. It's a big sacrifice, and it's a big lesson for people. Like when you're watching people and you're seeing the way that they're, I guess, when they're in motion and they're receiving rewards and their life is changing at a fast rate. um there's a cost to that. I've talked about it before, of just the small things of what it takes, and what fame, what you have to give up for the sake of fame is like, you got to give up your personal. Be open with people knowing about like small things about your life. um I thank God that I've had a notion that I was going to be great one day. Don't know like what it was. Sometimes I felt like I was going to be a hoop star, or when I was younger, I had hoop dreams. But I knew I was going to be great at something, and I've always kept it an intention, like ever since I was young, to always keep a clean image. And I've always thought in my mind was like, I can't do this, because if I do become great someday, they'll find this out. So it's like I've always was like, nah, I can't do this, because if once I'm great, and this comes out, like this is bad.